Back with another Savage stream. Thanks everybody for tuning in and checking out my channel. I am not drunk, so that's good. I'm actually not really drinking anything at all. I'm drinking just regular tea. So yeah, I had a drink earlier, but I don't know. I want to kind of get out of that mode. So I kind of stopped. I stopped drinking early. But it's kind of funny because I did a poll that I was really shocked at the results for what we should cover on tonight's show. So I think people are really concerned about what's going on with Ethereum. I think at least that's the way it seems. But I'll get to that in a minute. So this stream, crypto Skrewball. I don't. This is just Crypto Friday, I guess, because I'm not drinking anything. Normally it was like Skrewball Friday or Crypto Fireball Friday in the old days before they denied my sponsorship. I'm just kidding. I haven't even talked to him, but anyway, so this is just like a chill stream, just to talk to you guys about some crypto, trying to get more content out. But like I said last night, I think it was last night, it's just tough, man. It is really tough to focus. It's like drinking from a fire hose. It's a constant flow of information, and there's all this kind of cool stuff that I want to cover, and it's overwhelming. So I need to get better at focusing on one thing or one topic, and kind of covering that. That's kind of what we're gonna do tonight. I would like to thank everybody. I passed 5,000 subs a little while back. I'm at 5,260 or something like that now. I still got to do the giveaway. I know me and Dan have been talking a little bit about it. He's going to give away some stuff. I'll give away some stuff. I just haven't sat down and figured out what it is yet, and he's got his stuff set up, but I got to let him know when it's going to be so that we can coordinate and all that stuff, because he's going to give away some of his mining stuff that he's 3D printing, little micro miner things, compact miners, I think is the name of them. So eventually we're going to get to that. Just stay tuned for that. Eventually we will do a 5,000 sub giveaway. Just haven't set it all up yet. And be sure to subscribe to Dan the Dane. He's over there working hard, doing 3D printing. You can see he's got the 5,000 subscriber. He's done a lot of streams on like what he's building for the giveaway and stuff like that. Really cool. So be sure to check him out over there. Let me drop that link over there in the chat. So you can go to that after this stream. Or actually, I want to say that DCA Adventure is going live later. So we'll have to head over there. But yeah, be sure to subscribe to Dan the Dane. He's got 92 subscribers. Let's get him over 100. I think something happens at 100. I think you get to reserve your name, I believe. Like you would be able to secure YouTube / Dan the Dane, I believe is the way that it would work. I think that happens at 100. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. So what's up, Crypto Bedell, Crypto Mikkel from vacation? Hope you're having fun. Fold'em, B-Tech, what is up? Dan the Dane is in the house. Red Fox Crypto, what is up, man? You've been doing some great content. Max Voltage, what is up, man? Crypto Night. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get after it. Let's get to it. So yeah, be sure to subscribe to him. But I ran this poll, and I was really thinking that Ravencoin was gonna win, because I've been doing a lot of Ravencoin content, and surprisingly, it was like came in third. Conceal, and this was a pretty long poll. I think that this went on for like 16 hours. Only 25 people voted, but still, I was really surprised to see Ethereum like edge out Ravencoin and Conceal with the people that follow me anyway. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting, but it's something that we can cover. I mean, there's other content creators that are doing a lot of Ethereum content, and it's probably going to become more and more important as we get closer to July anyway. Let me know if what's up, Doge Lord? Let me know if the sound and the video quality is all good. I'm showing all good indications over here, so just let me know if everything sounds and looks good. That would be appreciated. So let's check out the market. Yeah, so we're going to talk about Ethereum, clearly. So let's look at the market real quick. I like green days. This is a 24-hour, percentage here. I mean, BTC's on a tear. Ethereum's kind of on a tear. A lot of the other alts are just going crazy, which is really good to see. I like seeing this back and forth between ETH and BTC. You know, one will pump and then the other one will cool off, and then that one will pump and then the other one will cool off. And it's interesting to watch and to follow. I think it's kind of odd. Normally at the end of the month and on, especially whenever it's like a Friday, it seems like on these types of days you normally see some red, you know, like going into the weekend, especially on like a Sunday. But yeah, this is strange. The end of the month on a Friday and everything's going up. That's, I don't know. I think that's kind of a sign of some strength there, in my opinion. So let's talk about Ethereum a little bit. I know we got to be kind of fast because I think that DCA Adventure is going live at 10. So we'll try to head over there as soon as we can. So one thing that's going on with Ethereum is the gas fees are dropping. You can see that if you go to like CoinGecko. I mean, we haven't seen 41 for ETH gas prices for a really long time. I mean, that's really low. It seems like, anyway. This is like a 3-month low, I believe, is what they're saying. And yeah, 3-month low. And the price of Ethereum is going up, and the gas fees are going down, which is kind of a weird thing to see, but it's a good thing, you know, in my opinion, because it does encourage usage, right? Even by smaller investors or smaller DeFi folks, you know, that weren't trading or weren't using the Ethereum network simply because it was just too expensive. Now it is back down there, you know, in a reasonable spot. So some users suggested that the significant reduction in gas fees was a result of the Berlin upgrade. Others that took place a couple weeks ago, I believe, and or the second layer protocols like Polygon or Matic, you know, those layer 2 solutions for transacting on Ethereum. Another person, Peter Chan of 1bit, said that it's probably because of the trading bots, you know, collaborating with the miners. And we've kind of covered this in previous videos, how that kind of worked. And it was actually the beginning of the decrease in fees was whenever the mining pools, not miners, but the mining pools started utilizing those arbitrage trading bots that the traders were using that were jacking the prices all crazy over the winter and in the end of the spring. So what ended up happening, because the mining pools are the ones that actually create the blocks and add the blocks to the blockchain, they are like ground zero for that implementation. So once they were aware of it and started utilizing it, now it's not beneficial for the trading bots, the trading firms, to use those bots, and they basically, a lot of them have shut them down, so they're not even existent anymore. And this talks about flooding the network with zero ETH transactions and stuff like that, and that's probably happening too. Like the flash bots, they created the MEV, the miner extracted value. We've talked so much about this. Miner extracted value, Geth or Go ETH client that floods the network with, you know, zero ETH transactions to be able to spot the right order of transactions in order to benefit from MEV. And there are some pools out there that are doing really well. They're issuing out huge amounts of MEV, which is awesome. Good to see. But my point is that, you know, you have one user saying, well, the reason is because of the layer 2 solutions, you know, Polygon and Matic, and the Berlin fork, because in that fork they really quietly increased the maximum gas per block from 12,500,000 to 15 million, I believe is what 12,500,000 to 15 million, I believe is what they did. So they increased the block size essentially, and that helped with congestion and possibly with the fees a little bit. So I always say this is something you'll hear me say from time to time. People like to point to a single thing, and this is a problem with human character, is they like to focus on one specific thing and only one thing that has a causation that causes something to happen, and it's never that. It's always a bunch of different things, and these are just two of the things that is causing the Ethereum transaction fees to be lower, right? So really cool stuff. I mean, I'm glad to see that it's coming down, because it makes more sense to have cheaper transactions on Ethereum than what we were experiencing before. It was really crazy. Yeah, it was really rough there for a while. So it says here that some of the bots decided to work with miners, and there are immense amounts of zero gas transactions mined, explaining that this dynamic provides an advantage for traders. I don't know why that would be an advantage for traders. I don't know why that is in there like that. It seems like it would be a advantage for miners, but anyway. So anyway, that's some of the reasons. It's never just one thing. You know, that some of the reasons that the transactions on Ethereum are decreasing, which is good to see. I'm happy about that. All right, so that's the good news. Let's get to some sort of bad news, in a way, at least for us miners, right? So Ethereum is moving towards ETH 2.0 with a super experimental testnet, and this testnet only ran for it's called Steklo, and it was like during a hackathon, and it only ran for a week or something, or maybe just a few days. But it is showing us and definitely exposing the fact that Ethereum devs are very actively moving towards ETH 2.0 as fast as possible, okay? And I'm going to show you something else in a moment that will kind of, solidify that statement. So I do want to point this out because I hate this. All right, I highlighted this for a reason. So it says Bitcoin and Ethereum both require users to mine coins, which equates to dedicating their computing power to solving difficult cryptographic puzzles. Everyone loves to describe the mining process like that, and it is not true. That is not what is happening. You're not solving a difficult cryptographic puzzle. Here's what you're doing. So this is going to be a little bit fun, okay? So there's this guy here, Van Flyman on Twitter. He created this. This is really cool. I think I've showed this one time, but I didn't go through all the different capabilities or all the different examples here. So this is MD5 hashing. This is not SHA-256 like Bitcoin mining or anything like that. But basically, you have an input of data, and then the algorithm, in this case, is MD5, Message Digest 5, MD5. So you're running an algorithm on the data that is input, and then you get an output. And this is a cryptographic hash, or a digest, okay? So if this data over here changes, like let's say we take the XD off of here, what you're going to see over here is a huge change in the output, right? So I'm going to press enter, and you're going to see it. So it was a huge change in output. It's not even close, right? Even though you're just changing a very small thing, let's just put an X on here. Watch how much the output changes. So it's not even close to the same thing, right? So this happens because, you wouldn't want to be tricked or fooled, or you wouldn't want the output to be really close just because the text is really close. It's got to be completely cryptographically random, not random because it is a digest of specific input data, but you follow what I mean. You don't want, because you would be able to hack stuff really easy if you knew the different outputs of different inputs, right? So that's just the way the hashing function works, and that's all this is doing. So if you change one thing, goes for secretary, so that changes the output data, right? So this is just showing you how a hash function works and what happens to data, input data, output data. A hash function is ran on this data, and again, in this case, this is MD5. You can see that up here. This is not SHA-256. It would be like 256 characters, I believe, is the output for SHA-256. But let's move on to the next thing, which is the block structure. So on a blockchain, a block structure, a block could look like this. And in this case, they're talking about block 210,000. You could say that this was a Bitcoin block because it's got the output as being Bitcoin over here, right? Now, this from Coinbase to miner, this would be the block rewards. And this is the only way, remember that this is the only way that new Bitcoin, or in the case of any proof of work project, the way that coins get created on the network is through proof of work mining. And this is, obviously this is Bitcoin. Now, what happens is you've got the block number, you've got some other data in here like the transactions. You're going to say, okay, I'm going to have a block reward of 6.25 Bitcoin. That's going to go to the miner that creates this block, that adds this block, that solves this block, and adds it to the blockchain. So all these different values in here are hashed together, okay? And that, along with some metadata, and this is where you get into that situation with the block sizes and fighting over whether or not you need 1 megabyte blocks or 10 megabyte blocks, and how much data you can include in a block and all that stuff. But basically, you would have a timestamp. You definitely have to have the previous hash. So you have to have that as your metadata. You have to have the previous hash because that's what creates a blockchain. And we'll get to that in just a second. But yeah, so you have a timestamp. This is just other data, so metadata. And then junk like a message. You could have, you know how blocks, the miner of the block can actually add a message to it and all that kind of cool stuff. Depending on the blockchain, you could have different things in here, messages or whatever. You could have whatever in here, just basically junk. Okay, so all of this is hashed together to provide a hash output, a digest of this data. So, for example, if you were to change this 3151 to 3152, so watch this number down here, A269, right? Hash. So I'm going to press enter. It's going to redo it. Totally different, right? So just changing that little bit of data changes the output significantly. So why is that important? Well, whenever you get into a blockchain environment or a blockchain situation, you have, block 5, block 6, block 7 like this. Now, this block is basically added to the blockchain, and anything that changes in here will change the rest of the blocks. So for example, I'm going to change this 3151 to 3152 again, and then watch what happens. Because it changes the previous hash, or the hash of this block, and then this block is the previous hash over here, okay, for the following block. So this number no longer matches. Actually, it does in this case, but it knows that it has changed, right? And that's why it's red like that. Because of the previous data, right? The previous blocks prior to this. And it knows based on the hashing function that data has changed in that block. So once it's finalized, once it hits finality and is actually added to the blockchain, and all the nodes agree that this is a valid block, then that's what happens. And if we change this back to 1, then you'll see it goes back to green, everything matches, everything's good. So that's why you can't, this is, whenever people are talking about the value of Bitcoin specifically, I know I'm supposed to be talking about Ethereum, and it basically is the same in this regard, blockchain technology. So you'll hear the higher ups, the people in the traditional financial sector, like Warren Buffett and those guys, say things like Bitcoin isn't backed by anything, it's worth zero, right? It's a theoretical zero worth, the whole thing. But this is what is part of the value. I'm not going to say it's the only thing, but part of the value is the history. You have a ledger, and he even refers to it, Warren Buffett refers to it, the whole thing as a ledger. But you have a history of every transaction that has ever occurred on the Bitcoin blockchain since it was created. And that data, that history is worth something. You know, you can prove, and it's all provable, immutable, all that stuff through the entire existence of the network. So that is part of the value of the network, in my opinion, is that being able to verify it, right? The whole entire thing. So that's part of the anyway. That's part of the value, in my opinion. All right, let me get off of this. So hopefully that was a cool little fun little exercise. I'm not checking the chat because, you know, I get distracted, so I'm just kind of going to go through this. I know we have to get over to DCA Adventure. I think they're probably live by now. They might be waiting on me. I don't know. I only got a couple more things to go over here real quick. So hopefully you enjoyed that little exercise. I think that this type of stuff helps. Like, it's a fundamental thing, right? But it's part of the crypto sphere that people kind of overlook. You know, they hear the terms blockchain, they know basically what it means, but whenever you show it like this really like drives it home. Like, you really get it after this, and this is all you're doing. But my point, actually, let me get back to my point. This right here is nonsense, right? Because all a miner is doing, actually I kind of glazed over that part. So all a miner is doing is running a hashing function on a predetermined set of data and trying to find a solution just randomly. It's not calculating anything. It's running that hashing function on it a million times, however, you know, whatever the mega hash or terahash or whatever a second. It's running that random function and trying to find a number, a result of a hash result that has a certain difficulty set to it, meaning normally it's identified by the leading number of zeros. So for like in a Bitcoin, that actually spreadsheet was kind of a bad example because it didn't show you that. But that's not really showing mining anyway. But anyway, so you're running that hash function on that data, that block of transactions, right? Just like I just showed you, and you're trying, and part of that data that's fed to you as a miner is the difficulty level. So if the difficulty level, let's say that the difficulty is a certain amount, that means that you need to find a result that has 10 leading zeros. So in your file hash result, or in your hashing results, you have to find a result that has 10 leading zeros. And that's super difficult, right? Because you're talking about SHA-256 in the case of Bitcoin. So that's really hard to come up with randomly, right? Because you're just running random numbers and trying to find that solution. You're not solving a cryptographic puzzle. You're just running a hash algorithm on a set of data and trying to find a solution that meets or exceeds the difficulty level of the network. That's probably the easiest way to say it. I don't know. But yeah, I hate seeing that. Anyway, all right, so let me get back to this article. I hate seeing that. It drives me crazy. All right, let's see. So they are working on, yeah, this is what I was talking about, the test net. They are working on that. Things are moving along, in the direction of ETH2, moving a little bit faster, and you can see that right here. So if you go to Ethereum.org, one of the little alerts or notifications or whatever up here specifically states ETH2 researchers are working on ways to accelerate the merge. And whenever you see that merge, they're talking about going from ETH1 to ETH2. Proof of stake. No more mining, right? That is what they are talking about whenever they're talking about merge. And it says right here, it will probably happen earlier than expected. Now, you might be saying, well, yeah, but they always say that, right? Ethereum developers always say that they're going to do something, but they did kind of spring the beacon chain on us out of nowhere, in my opinion, right? There obviously, if you were watching the development of it, you knew that it was happening. But if you're just kind of like on the outside, just barely looking at what Ethereum is actually working on, you're mining it, and you're seeing that the rewards are going okay, so everything's great. And then all of a sudden, beacon chain, staking, and all that stuff came kind of out of nowhere at the end of last year. So my point is that it's possible that this is true, that we are going to see it earlier than expected. Now, most people are saying by the end of the year. I personally take it this as before that. Like, I know that EIP 1559 is in July. That's going to have an effect on mining rewards. You know, there's speculation out there. No one knows what's going to happen because no one knows what the value of Ethereum is going to be at the time. If Ethereum is $10,000 in July, okay, EIP 1559 is not an issue. Even if it's 4,000, it's not an issue because, you know, it's going to work itself out as far as the mining rewards go. In my opinion, I think that that's the way that we have to look at it. But this statement on Ethereum.org to me means before the end of the year. If everybody is thinking that it's by the end of the year or towards the end of the year, and they're saying that it's earlier than expected, I don't know. Take that for what you will. I kind of think it might happen a little bit earlier than what people are thinking. The general consensus is like, you know, early 2022 or at the end of this year. It's looking like it might be before that. So if you look at the ETH2 launchpad, they just hit some crazy amount of total ETH stake is 4.1 million ETH. So that's 126,032 ETH staked. It's crazy. And the current APR is 7.7. Doesn't sound like a lot, right? I mean, if you're in DeFi, this is a super low number. But if you look at what that means, so let's say you're staking your 32 ETH at 7.7 at the current value. Okay, so the current value of ETH is USD value is 28. Wow, 28.36. I don't know, man. We might break 3,000 by the end of the stream. So it's 28.36. That means that your APR for your 32 ETH stake is about, it's looking like it's about $7,000 for a year. So on your 80 something thousand dollars worth of ETH, for that year you would get about 7,000 extra, right? For staking that 32 ETH. That's pretty significant. I mean, you know, what other vehicle, you know, investment vehicle would do that? If you have 80,000 invested, you know, it's hard to get 7.7 annual, you know. Now that's the great thing about the way that this is designed. I don't know, in my opinion, this is crazy. But you know, the more this little curve right here is so significant because the more that's staked in millions, you know, the more ETH that's staked, the lower the APR, but it only goes down to 4.9. It looks like 10 million is the maximum that they're going to allow to be staked. And what do you think is happening right now with, you know, maybe like institutions and all that? You know, this is, I don't know. This is pretty genius if you ask me. I'm not going to hate on Ethereum. This is, yeah, I mean, it's enticing, right? To, you know, if you had 32 ETH to stake it and get 7.7 at this point, you know, if as this moves down this way, as more ETH is staked, it's probably it's going to mean that the value of Ethereum is increasing, right? So as this moves this direction, the value will be increasing. Otherwise, people wouldn't be staking. You see what I'm saying? So this is, yeah. I mean, whenever this first launched, this was like 22%, and Ethereum was like $400, right? Maybe even less. It was maybe like $350, I think, whenever this first launched. So you can see what has happened to Ethereum in that in the 4 million, you know, staking range here. It's gone from 350 to 2,800. Okay, so what is it going to be right here? Right? If it gets to here, what's the value of Ethereum going to be? Double what it is right now, right? Maybe more, because as this goes down, you know, as the rewards go down and the more is staked, the value is going to have to be even higher. the further this goes, in order for the returns to make sense, the value of ETH is going to have to be higher. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. I dig it. I think it's a pretty cool way to look at it, you know. And as BTC Dominance drops, that's something that else that's been happening recently. Is BTC Dominance is down. Let me do a refresh here. Is down to 47.5. I think it was edging up towards 50% earlier or midweek, and now it's dropping again. And the same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum was up around 15.5%, I believe. Wow, ETH gas just went up. That's kind of crazy. Anyway, just noticed that. So yeah, BTC Dominance, meaning the total market value, the total market cap. You know, this it represents the total market cap of, or how much total market cap BTC consumes, right? Or BTC makes up. And then ETH makes up 14.2% of this total market cap over here. Man, we're going up in market cap value too. So you can see that with BTC Dominance and ETH Dominance going down a little bit, it's probably going into alts besides ETH, right? So it's going into those lesser known coins. And you can kind of see that as you go down through here. So not lesser known. You understand what I'm saying? You know, not Bitcoin and not Ethereum. Other coins besides those two. It's hard to call Ethereum an alt, even though it is an alt, but it's the #1 alt. So yeah, so you know, typically you see as BTC Dominance goes down, typically you see Ethereum go up, and other alts, you know, their value will increase because the value is flowing out of BTC and into Ethereum and the other alts. That's typically what you see. But it's really great whenever they all move up together, right? Whenever everything's moving up, that's whenever it's awesome, because, you know, you've got a significant increase in market cap. We were only at 2 trillion. I can't believe I'm saying that, because listen, it was only 3 years ago that it went up below 100 billion. 3 years ago, we were below 100 billion market cap total. And now we're at almost 2.3 trillion in 3 years. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. So, yeah, cool stuff. It's really cool whenever they all move up together. There's some other things, you know, in the derivatives and futures markets and all those high-end trading, you know, firms and markets, which I'm not in. You know, I don't do that. I basically just hold. So you start talking trading and futures and all that stuff, it's not something I'm really involved in at all. I understand it a little bit. There's contracts where, you know, investors, either retail or you know, professional traders, can actually buy contracts saying that Ethereum is going to be this value on this date. You know, usually it's like for long-term stuff, it's like a year-long contract. It can be as short as like you know, 8 hours or whatever, right? It just depends. And then so they're speculating on the future value of whatever the project is, you know, Ethereum in this case. And those went crazy in mid-April, which led to value increases. You know, speculation of the future value of Ethereum was going really high in mid-April. So that's why we're seeing, you know, the result of that now, with it pushing, you know, $3,000, which is insane, crazy. But I like to see it. I ain't gonna lie. So do you guys think that Ethereum is gonna break 3,000 this weekend? Let me know in the chat and in the comments if you're watching this after the fact. Let me know if you think that that's going to actually happen. What's up, Standing Man? Yeah, a bunch of savages in here tonight. I'm digging it. We're about done. We're gonna get out of here in just a minute. Yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out and talking some crypto with me. So I did mention the institutional interest is actually, you know, getting higher. I think I tweeted about this. It might have been even this week. But I tweeted about it several times over the course of about 6 months here. basically saying that, you know, there's really no reason why institutions will only focus on Bitcoin, because Ethereum is huge market cap and has a different, you know, set of capabilities and different reasons why its value increases. Obviously DeFi and staking and all that stuff. You know, Bitcoin is just Bitcoin. It's kind of there, you know, yeah, you can borrow against it and there's all these different things that you can do with it, but for the most part it's kind of a store of value. Ethereum is kind of usable. You've got, you know, your staking and rewards and return on that. So there's reasons why, definitely reasons why institutions would look at Ethereum in addition to Bitcoin. You know, and here's just an article talking about some of this. Basically, a report was saying, you know, that Ethereum is steeply undervalued. It also, the report noted that the size of open interest market grew from 365 million in April 2020 to 7.5 billion as of April 2021. So in 1 year, the institutional interest in Ethereum grew from 365 million to 7.5 billion. Craziness, right? I mean, that's a huge, but we see it in the value, because a year ago, Ethereum was $90. You know, I can't believe I'm saying that. But wow, you know, it's all those things that you think about, like, man, I should have sold my house and just went all in Ethereum, you know, in March of 2020. But man, nobody was doing it, right? Because everybody was, I mean, I know I was worried about how things were working at the time. Now it's kind of, you know, and that's just water under the bridge. But, you know, yeah, you look back like, man, I could have got Ethereum at $90, or actually a little less. That's insane. And then the people that have been around since 2015, which is not me, you know, they're saying, well, Ethereum was like, you know, what was it initial? I think it was like $14, I think. It might have been less than that. I know that if you were like, you know, in like that, the sale of it, you know, it was a lot less than that. But I mean, once it like started hitting the market, I think it pretty quickly went up to in the teens at least. And then, yeah, so man, Ethereum at 80 something dollars. Yeah, wow, crazy. So this article says that ultimately the volatility of these products will be consumed by traditional finance arbitrageurs, derivative traders, and automated trading programs. You know, that's something that will level out the field. It won't be as volatile. That's basically what they're saying, that once it gets so big, you know, it's like a economic mass, right? So the economic mass, you saw this with Bitcoin actually recently, because you saw that Tesla sold, not Elon Musk, but Tesla, the company, sold some of their Bitcoin that they had bought earlier in the year or late last year, and it really didn't do anything to the price. And it was a lot, right? I don't remember how much, but it was a lot of Bitcoin that they sold, and it didn't really affect the price of Bitcoin much at all. There were some people that were like, oh my gosh, they sold, so they did. So there's a little dip there, but for the most part, it just absorbed it. It's like, no big deal. And the reason for that is that economic mass. There's so much market value that it's hard to adjust it. Now, there are whales out there with billions that can do that, you know, still to this day. But for the most part, Bitcoin is hard to move the price, right? It's the huge economic mass. The same thing is happening with Ethereum, and we're seeing that, and that's what the institutions are going to look at, because they don't want that extreme volatility. You know, they want things to be more predictable, more level, all that kind of cool stuff. So that is something that is happening as well with Ethereum and institutions looking at it. So let me get out of here. I could talk about, you know, all this kind of stuff forever, but I know that DCA Adventure is probably live. Let's go and check. Yeah, they're live. So be sure to head over there and do the Savage Raid thing, and also check out dogelord.com and my collection over there Got some cool shirts. I'm working on some new stuff. I just haven't got it all firmed up yet. So do a Savage raid on DCA Adventure, and also check out dogelord.com and all the other collections too. There's a lot of great stuff on here. I gotta buy some of the other stuff as well, you know, support my other crypto YouTubers and other people in the community here. I need to get on that. All right, guys. Yeah, head over to DCA Adventure and do the Savage raid. I will see you guys over there. If you thought that this was entertaining, educational, fun, whatever, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Click the notification bell. Make sure you know whenever I go live or post a video. I will see you guys over in DCA Raid or DCA Adventure. Savage Raid on DCA Adventure. Stay savage, everybody.